Don't lose $50,000 before you ever even get your property on the market. This is my top 10 list of nevers when you want to list your property and make sure that you get top dollar every single time. And number 1 and 2, kill deals all the time to the tune of 15-20%. So stay tuned for that. All right, number 10 is never have pricing that doesn't take into account your micro neighborhood. Now, especially here in the Conejo Valley, every neighborhood can be completely different. I mean, like you could have a custom build here and you could have the same custom build, literally the same floor plan, everything, but it's 2 blocks away. It's got a different backyard, different school district, all the different things. Make sure that you never price your property the way somebody else does. This is your property. This is your personal thing. And the reasons we do this, we want to make sure that your property doesn't sit on the market for a long time. It doesn't create suspicion or get stale, and we don't have to do price cuts, right? Making sure that you never ignore your local market. I mean, I'm talking down to the block, right? Okay. Number 9 is a personal one for me. I've got 5 cats and a dog, and we love our animals, but they are constant work, and so never have a pet lives here smell or visible damage in the house. And truthfully, we just sold a house up in Northern California, and this is something we had to deal with rather aggressively. We deal with it on a regular basis, but in order to get our property sold, we definitely had to jump into it and make things work. You know, it did, but it takes a little bit of extra work. Nobody likes to walk into a house and have those unrecognizable smells, especially when their pet smells. And that includes other damages that might be done too, like your backyard or whatnot with a big dog. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a deep clean, do an enzymatic treatments, maybe even replace some carpets if necessary, and then remove litter boxes. Even if your pets are still in the home, remove those litter boxes ASAP. Well, at least before you show the property. All right, number 8. Number 8 is never have outdated or too personal a design on your home. Now, a lot of us, we bought a home. It's the home we're gonna live in. We do all kinds of fun things to it. But when it comes down to selling, our personal excitement about, a conversation nook or whatever isn't necessarily gonna fit in with what people are looking for in the market. So we want to make sure that we address that and never have something that is overly personal. Along those lines too, that means you want to take down your pictures. In our world, we don't want to get things where we have things that, get into our private moments anyway. So I like to remove all that stuff. And so that removes that personality, which also lets people insert their personality into your home, which is exactly what you want done, right? Then number 7. Number 7 is avoiding those HOA surprises. Now, unlike most people, I love an HOA. It helps keep a standard in a community. And yes, they can be annoying, but they help everybody stay at that standard. You don't end up with a car in the neighbor's front yard because you have an HOA. The one big thing you need to watch out for, though, is your HOA management or the HOA itself. Especially in different communities, they can have legal issues. The current HOA where I'm living here in Moorpark is actually the management group is claiming bankruptcy because they manage a property that is being sued and they got wrapped into that. Now, they aren't directly involved or even at fault for that, but because they have to protect themselves financially, they had to claim bankruptcy, which creates all kinds of angst and news and all that stuff. Now, it's not affecting us directly. It's just this newsletter. But when you have a buyer coming in and trying to buy your home, you don't want to have anything that creates any uncertainty when they are buying that home. So make sure that at the very least, you know what's going on with your HOA and you give those explanations right up front so they know exactly what's going on, right? Number 5 is, oh wait, I skipped number 6. don't let me skip number 6. Number 6 is taking care of any of that termite damage or wood damage that is on your eaves or anywhere else. Now, this is easily taken care of. If you have a pest control company come out on a regular basis, they should have guarantees that they make sure that all that stuff is taken care of. But you just don't want that stuff to be visible. When we sold our house in Northern California, we had a little bit of a couple places, water damage or otherwise, where there was an eave and also a door entry into our garage that had a little bit of damage. I went ahead and just took care of that myself because I try not to, sometimes it's just easier to take care of it yourself, as opposed to, having somebody else come out and do it for you. But get rid of that. And it's not so much that it's going to be expensive to fix, right? What we're trying to do is eliminate those things before the buyer even has a chance to make those discounts in their head on your property. And so it also, in our world, a lot of people have a lot of mold fears. So if there's water damage or termite wood damage, you run into that big time. So that leads me right into number 5, which is water damage, which can be indoors and out. One of the craziest ones that is often hard or we just ignore is that little spot in the ceiling. And it could have been something that we could have been taken care of 10 years ago, whereas it hasn't been leaking, but you left that stain in the corner. So make sure you address those things, do what you can to get them taken care of so they never even become an issue for people when they come in and they are looking to buy your home, right? So don't neglect or never neglect those visible water intrusions, especially when it comes to the ceiling and the indoors. Outdoors is a little bit different. It leads into that wood. Not that you don't want to take care of those too, but it creates more uncertainty when people see stuff in their ceiling because, man, they're thinking, oh, that could be $100,000 or whatever, right? Because there's just no idea how big that problem is, even if you've already taken care of it years ago, right? All right. Number 4 is a sneaky one. And so we obviously want to make sure that our HVAC is taken care of, but a lot of people don't worry about cleaning it up. I literally go out there, give it a little suds and scrape it down and make sure it looks as clean as possible. And now it could be 25 years old. It could be crushing life and doing a great job keeping your family nice and cool during the summer. But if it looks like it needs some help, it probably is going to be one of those things that the buyers are going to be like, hey, I don't want to have to spend an extra 40 grand on an HVAC system as soon as I buy this house. I'd rather see you get the money as a seller as opposed to them sending it to Conejo Valley HVAC, right? So let's not make that a big problem for them. Number 4 is an area that another big one that can be seen as a huge problem if we don't take care of it up front, and that is our roof or gutters. The roof, if you need a new roof, you need a new roof. It's going to show signs of that, but there are things you can do, like getting the leaves off the roof, or depending on how moist it is or what time of year it is, you might even have other moss or whatnot growing on the roof. I've seen that before when there's a lot of trees and it's kind of tucked away in a little neighborhood, and it's a very moist area. But making sure that your gutters are in order and your roof is in order, because you're probably still going to get them to do a roof inspection, but we just don't want to have those extra, issues come up where they think that it's going to be, 100 grand for a brand new roof. And a lot of times it's very easy to take care of that stuff. You get up there, leaf blower, you blow everything off, and then it just looks nice and pristine up on the roof. Same with the gutters. Clearing them out, making sure there's nothing growing in there that's not supposed to be growing in there. And then those problems never pop up into your buyer's brain and think, oh, this is another thing I have to discount. And I've seen offers come through where they literally are going through all of these things. Oh, I have to do this and I have to do this now. They're just making stuff up in their head, but it's all those things that we could have taken care of up front to make sure that that doesn't even come into play, right? All right, here comes number 2 and number 1. These two combined account for almost 15% of canceled contracts in and of themselves. So these are huge deals. They can cost you $50,000, $75,000 or just get your deal canceled wholesale, which is no good because the biggest thing that kills deals is uncertainty and time. And we don't want to deal with either of those, especially if we're making big mortgage or we're trying to move on with our life or all the different things. Let's make sure that we get these things taken care of right up front. So number 2 is to make sure that we have removed any outward signs that there's any kind of a fire risk. Now, let's be honest, in Southern California, we all feel like this place goes up in flames and turns into a hot hell twice a year or every other year. And so it's just crazy, right? And obviously just last January, we had that go up and there was 10,000 homes that went up in flames. And so it's on everybody's top of the mind that they don't want to have to deal with those things. So we're going to have to remove that as much as possible. Let's clean up that property, trim all the bushes, make sure that we have all the right distances to make it look like our house is not going to go up from flames in the next fire. Along those lines too, 9% of properties that go into escrow get canceled because the buyer cannot get fire insurance in California. So let's go ahead and address that right up front. Let's solve that problem for your buyer before they ever even have to think about it, right? Because it's one of those things where insurances they're like, oh, I've been buying a house. If it's their first, second, third time, or they're just really excited, most of the time they've forgotten that they have to get new insurance on this property. I've seen so many deals not close on time because of that. Now, in the past, it hasn't been that big of a deal, but now getting fire insurance in and of itself is a huge deal. So let's find an insurance agent that has your house all lined up, and all we have to do is plug in that buyer and they've got their fire insurance taken care of. Just removes that entirely and makes you seem like the greatest seller on the face of the planet. All right, now number 1, which is super huge, it always comes up in that last week, is never have unpermitted work on your property. Now, the truth is, you probably do. A lot of people do and they don't even realize that if you've done a kitchen remodel, there's a good chance, even if it's the most reputable remodeling company that came in to do it, that they did not spend the extra 2 months it takes to get a $1,500 permit for you to get a permit on your brand new kitchen. So you probably do have a property that has something that's not permitted in it. Now, kitchens do not throw up a big red flag, right? But if you have a garage conversion or a huge porch or an ADU, those things are going to throw some red flags, and you want to make sure that those are permitted. Now, if they are currently, as we're standing here, not permitted and you want to sell your property, you can go get them permitted. You just have to, pay your little, I'm sorry about that fine or whatever to the city, and they'll get those things permitted if they're up to code. Shouldn't be that huge of a deal, but it is a huge deal if you don't take care of it up front. So let's take care of all that stuff right up front and make sure that all of those things are 100% taken care of before you even list your property. Then you never have to worry about any of these things at all. All right, thank you so much for watching and making it to 1 and 2. If you're looking for more tips and tricks, please subscribe right below, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.